So with this next part here, which is part 3, we have a pretty straightforward part to model. Looking at it, the thing that we want to identify is that we've been given an enlarged section of a part of it, which is quite often a kind of a clue that it's going to be a revolve. And because this is a kind of, I guess, an axially symmetric part, that is to say down this axis in the center here, it's symmetric across both sides, and it's circular, which means it's perfect for a revolve. The only thing that we can't do in this with a revolve are these pegs here that stick out, but that's fine because it'd be easy to add them on afterwards as an extrusion. So we'll turn our attention here, make sure that we understand the profile that we need to draw, and we also need to figure out where that's going to go in relation to the axis that we want to revolve it around. So it looks from this as though the diameter 52 here, that relates to the size of the hole in the middle. So that basically means that this edge here, which is the edge of the hole, has to be half that away from the axis. So it's going to be 26 millimeters from the edge of this part here to the axis. And then we just need to draw this, or sketch this, and revolve it around 360 degrees. You could probably go about doing this through extrusions and other ways, but it would be a lot more hassle. So let's not do silly things like that. So again, back to Inventor, we'll make a new part. And again, we want to think about what plane we're going to sketch this on. And because it's going to revolve around, I want to sketch it on this plane here so that when it revolves, it kind of comes around and it's still orientated the way that I want it to be. And I'm going to kind of move this so that it's, again, orientated sensibly for what I'm trying to do. So I'm just going to start by doing a construction line up at the top here to be an axis. Doesn't really matter what length it is. We could actually make that a center line, to be fair, rather than a construction line. So that's going to be our axis that we're going to revolve it around, and we need to get out from here and start this first sketch, or start the sketch by doing this first line here. And looking at this, it would appear to me that that bit there is going to be 3 millimeters tall, because we can infer that from here in the fact that there's a radius 3 there. So we will start with just drawing a 3 millimeter vertical line. And don't have to be too precious about where we draw it, just anywhere over here. Oh, I want to start by drawing it the right way around. So try that again. Okay. And we'll just highlight that and make it a construction line. And the next thing I'm going to do is specify the distance from this to my axis to make sure that it ends up being the size that I want it to be. I'm sure quite, oh, I think it's given me that as a diameter because I used a center line rather than just a normal line. In your case, if you're just using a normal line, you'd probably just use the radius, but for us that's 52, so we'll put in 52. And that's it, positioned now the correct distance away from the center. So I need to continue that sketch by doing this line that's 4 along the top, then 3 down. So let's continue with that. So from here, 4, and then go down 3. Just going to move that dimension over to the other side so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. To turn off the construction line until something that's going to keep tripping me up. Making life difficult for myself here. So 3, and then this distance here is 8. Disable construction line before I do that again. And then down here and in, so we want to have, at the bottom of there, we want a kind of an arc that's going to give me like a quarter of a circle. So just here, what I'll do is I'll just draw this 2 millimeters down, and then tie this all up afterwards. So I think the easiest way to do this would probably just be to do a circle here. You could do it with the arc tool though, it wouldn't really matter. And kind of make sure that my center point, I'll just go over that again. Center point of my circle is kind of got a trace line linking it to there and to there. So I know the center is kind of here where it needs to be. And then I can just stretch out to there, and we can see 4 millimeters, that means the radius will be 2, so that's fine. I can take my line from here, bring it up till it hits the edge of it, and then I can use the trim tool, so that's shortcut X to cut that away, and I could use the fillet tool to do radius fillet there, 2. So we've now got 8, 2, 3, so let's just check, 4, 8, yep, we've got all the dimensions that we need to, so that should be exactly the size and shape we want it to be. So all we need to do now is revolve that around. Just double check, yep, that's all we need to do. So we'll finish that sketch and we'll revolve it. So the handy thing about using a center line when you're doing a sketch with a revolve is it knows that that's the axis, so you don't actually have to select it yourself. Okay, so that's that. Now we just need to put these pegs on the back of it, so they sit on the flat back surface at the back here. So they're going to go into that surface there. And I want 6 of them again because they've got to match up the other holes. They are 6 millimeters deep and they have a diameter of 3 millimeters. So we'll start our sketch on here. We will do our circle, and we want to position this. Where does it need to go? How far down? So it's a PCD 66 as before. So we'll do a circle. It's construction line. We'll make that 66. Probably actually use a center line control for that construction line as well, because that would be more appropriate for a PCD, but don't worry about that just now. And then we're going to do a circle. Let's try and figure out why we've got a second line there. Must have created that by accident. Yeah, so we'll do another circle here. So that's going to be 3 millimeters diameter. Make sure we've unticked construction line. And we are going to extrude that 6 millimeters and then use a radial array around any of these curves as an axis 6 times. So there are no other details here that I can see that we need to add. I think we've taken into consideration everything that's there. So we're nearly done. That's that part done. Move on to the next one.